It was at this moment Ben knew he messed up. Alright, so here are the calculations that we did on this. As you can see, we have a very attractive Ben right here at the top of the steps. And in case we didn't see him, there were actually alligators there that can jump 1/4 of a foot, and we want to know if Ben can clear that. So, his jump distance total was 7 feet, his initial height was 2 feet off the ground. The alligators can jump 1/4 of a foot, and his flight time, we timed it, and it's about 0.45 seconds. To figure this out, we need to first set up our x and y equations. So the x and y equations look like this, and then after we plug in the values, his x distance is 7 feet, time is 0.45 seconds. Since we're in feet per second here, we're using 32.2 for the g value, and his initial height was 2 feet. So using those equations, we need to be able to find his initial velocity and his angle. Next, we need to find his initial velocity equation. So we do that by taking the x equation that we substituted values in for, and then we get velocity by itself, which you can see here is equivalent to 15.56 over cosine theta. So next we substitute that into the y equation, where velocity was, as you can see by the arrow right there. And after some simplifying, some multiplying, right here we get 0.18 equals tangent theta, and it's tangent because we have a sine over cosine right there, and that is equivalent to 10.2 degrees, which is its angle. And then we just take theta and substitute it into the velocity equation that we made earlier, and as you can see, that is equal to 15.81 feet per second for his initial velocity. As I forgot to mention earlier, the alligators are actually 1 foot away from his landing spot, which is 6 feet away from his initial starting point. So using this information, we can figure out if Ben cleared the alligator pit or not. So since we know that the alligators were 6 feet away, we plug that in for x in the x equation, and we know the initial velocity and angle. So what we're doing right here is pretty much figuring out at what time Ben was at 6 feet away from the starting point. And that turns out to be 0.39 seconds. And we take that 0.39 seconds and then we plug all the variables that we know into the y equation, which is pretty much all of them at this point because we solved for all of them. And after some simplifying, we find out that his y distance from the ground at 6 feet was 0.64 feet, which is greater than 0.25 feet, which was the jumping height of the alligators. So therefore, Ben has survived the alligator attack.